here's a tip. When you're picking all these restaurants, make a list, get the address, throw it into ChatGPT and ask them to make you a map. And map it out. ChatGPT will literally produce a map for you.
What?
And have all
She manually did that, poor thing.
Poor thing. Poor thing. Hey guys.
Hey.
It's Caviar and Wings. I'm Sahar and this is
Steph. I'm Steph Alexis.
We got Kelly. She's off camera today.
Hey y'all, I'm here. Hi.
On YouTube, you can hear her, but you can't see her. And for those that are listening, you don't know the difference. Steph, tell us where you're from and tell us the world what you do.
Yes, where I'm from is a confusing question because I call many places home, but I live in Miami, next to you. I am from Bermuda, born and raised in Bermuda, to Jamaican parents, so I'm Jamaican, and I moved from New York, so I consider New York my adult home, yeah.
Yes, and what do you do? Because the way that Steph moves and her travels, you gotta be a real boss to be able to move the way she moves. So tell us what...
You're gassing me up, but...
tell the world what you do.
Yeah, so my 9 to 5, well, it's not really 9 to 5, but I'm head of business development at Patreon. Been there for
We're on there.
less than a year, but yeah, great platform for podcasters, and I look for ways to grow the platform. And then my 5 to 9, I have a platform called Black and Home. That's BLK and Home on Instagram. And we are the destination, the leading destination for Black homes around the world. So we celebrate home design, hosting, Black art, anything you can think of that has to do with home style. And we connect those that are inspired by it.
I love that. What inspired you to start that?
It's funny, so during the pandemic when I was living in Harlem, I was stuck in my 1-bedroom and I'm like, if I'm gonna be stuck in here, I need to do something about the aesthetics. So I was perusing every site you could think of and I'm like, how are Black people living in their homes? Cause it was a bunch of Scandi furniture, it was just images that did not represent who I was. And so me and my sister, she was in London and we were like, let's aggregate everything we see and highlight how Black people live around the world. And that's where it started. And we've grown over 60,000 people on Instagram. We're a strong community. We had our first event at Art Basel this past year. And yeah, we're looking to do more things. Yeah.
I love that. Well, if you ever need anything.
Yes, I love home design.
We love supporting.
Yeah.
And no, it's an amazing platform.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. I'm so proud of everything you've done with it. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's definitely hard to start your own venture and pour yourself into something.
It's so tough, especially with the job at the same time.
Yes. Kelly can attest to that. I drive her crazy with that. She's always like, I'm at work, right?
Exactly. That's why everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working.
I'm working.
Yeah, so I can go on these trips.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we are covering South Africa.
Yeah, the South Africa.
The South Africa. But before we share all the places and restaurants and things to do, let's learn a little bit more about Steph. And do you love, obsessed, or live for travel?
Obsessed. I wouldn't even say obsessed because that sounds like a fan. I think it's a lifestyle. It's a part of my DNA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Like the water you drink.
It's like the water I drink.
You need it to hydrate.
I need it to live, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How often do you find yourself, first of all, how did you develop this relationship with travel? Yeah,
so I grew up in Bermuda, so outside of the US. So I've been on planes since I was 6 months. And so nice. Bermuda, for those who don't know, it's not in the Caribbean, everyone makes that mistake. It's east of North Carolina, so in the Atlantic Ocean, and it's 21.5 square miles. And so
it's so beautiful there.
It's so gorgeous. It is gorgeous there.
I'm obsessed with Bermuda, and if you will go crazy though if you stay there all year.
Forever,
so
yeah.
I was traveling multiple times a year with my parents. My parents are Jamaican, so I'll go to Jamaica every summer, and so it's always just been a part of who I am. I've never known to like just be stationary, because you would get cabin fever in Bermuda being on an island that small.
Especially all year round, because it actually gets cold.
It does.
It gets cold in Bermuda.
It does in the winter. I mean, relatively cold, like Miami cold, not New York cold. So you can still go. You just wouldn't swim or probably lay out on the beach, but it's still beautiful all year.
And your parents migrated from Jamaica to Bermuda?
Yeah, they were expats in their 20s and went on an 18-month contract and stayed for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they loved it.
Yeah, they fell in love with it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And they moved back to Jamaica once me and my sister were on our feet. So
we should have been covering Bermuda, it sounds like.
I know, but
we'll
all
just, of it. I mean, or I can come back.
Or we can go to Bermuda.
Or that.
That could be a good time. I love it there. I would definitely go back. And it's such a quick little
It's a quick trip.
So you already answered the other question I was going to ask, is like the first time you got on a plane.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, I think I was like sick or something. I had to go to like the Boston hospital, but I was always going back and forth. Like for prom, I would just go to New York and go shopping and come back. Like, we don't have all of the access to shops back then. I'm not trying to age myself, but was no online shopping. So I would go to back to school shopping, go to Walmart, get all my stuff and go back to Bermuda,
Oh my God, that's so cute. So I wonder, like, once the program started with the airlines, you probably racked up a bunch of miles.
So this is where I feel sorry for myself, because I unfortunately am an American Airlines loyalty member.
We're on the same plane.
If you look at my like my profile, I've been a member since 1990. Don't do any math. And I've never been elite on American. And I don't know why. I've been traveling my whole life. I think I need the credit card.
It takes a lot to get status.
I'm just like, what? I mean, like, I'm like basic status, but I'm not get upgrade to first class every time status.
Really?
Yeah, so that comes out of my pocket.
So it's gold, silver, platinum, executive platinum.
Yeah, I don't want to reveal how much of a peasant I am.
So you must cheat on them often.
Oh, I do. I have to, because sometimes it just is more cost effective to pay for an elite status on another airline versus be in the back of the bus.
And there's nothing wrong with the back. It's cozy.
And I'm 5'3", and my knees still touch. So I don't know how a regular heighted person sits.
Do they?
I know.
Come on. I think we're exaggerating just a little. Just a little bit.
I'm looking more from American, so if you see this, please upgrade me.
Yeah,
please.
Get her the status she needs. I want that concierge key invite.
I would love anything at this point.
But I have been cheating on them often. I mean, living in Miami is like, right before I moved here, I thought about switching over to Delta and actually started the process. But then the pandemic happened. I'm here full time, and American Airlines is just, I mean, they own the freaking almost the entire footprint of the airport. Yeah. So
and to the Caribbean, which I travel to a lot, they have all the it's hate-love relationship, because convenience, they got it.
So we're here to talk about South Africa.
Yes.
Tell us, you went for New Year's.
I did. I went for Christmas and New Year's.
Oh.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds like...
I arrived on Christmas Day.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was one of my best trips.
I definitely saw Steph out and was like, so what are you doing for New Year's this year? Like, let's do something. She's like, well, I'll be in South Africa. Actually, she said, we were having a conversation, SA came up, and I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I'm like, somebody said SA to me, and I had no idea what they meant by it. I was like, oh,
when you say it like that, it sounds like...
Yeah, she's like, it's this new place called SA. I think it's in South Africa.
Like,
I was like, are you referring to the letters SA as in South Africa? She's like, actually, maybe. Yeah,
maybe that's what it really is. My bad. Like, and the person who was sharing this with me, I was like, I didn't want to ask him, like, oh, well, what's SA?
So you were just playing along.
I was playing along. I was like, that sounds nice. I should go. I was like, I'll go Google it later. Meanwhile, I've definitely been to SA before.
Who calls it that? That has a different meaning in my head, SA.
What meaning does it have for you?
Assault?
Oh, I was about to say assault. Well, when we're talking about
assault.
travel, I don't think he would be like, you should go SA.
If you guys don't know Steph, she's so freaking funny. Her humor has me in stitches every single time. It's like, I don't know if I feel like I get funnier just by being around her.
Don't flatter me.
It sounds possible. It sounds possible.
And we're both Sages.
We're both Sages.
Sad. What's your birthday?
December 11th.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
It's so many of us within like a 2-week span. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
I love
after
it.
Art Basel, it's
It's a wrap.
Scorpio over here.
Okay, we're close. We're close.
It actually starts Scorpio season for me because, you know, we have mutual friends who are also Scorpios.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's busy season. November, December is a busy season for us.
Yes.
Come to Miami.
It's a good time.
Yes.
Yes.
Miami's
Come to
the best place to be
You'll have
during
a
that
good time.
part. Yeah.
Yes, you'll have a good time. So why'd you guys pick South Africa? Who'd you go with? Did you sit in the back and coach, or did you get the upgrade?
Good question. Okay, let's start with why. So I think when I was in Cannes over the summer, I was at dinner and with some people I hadn't met before and some mutual friends, and it was some guys and they were like, oh, we're going to South Africa, like that's supposed to be a new wave after Ghana or after Lagos, Accra or Lagos. And so I've always wanted to go to South Africa. I never really did the Accra or Lagos like for Dutchy December or anything like that. But South Africa was top of my list. And I was like, what better time to go than like when I know people that are going and I'll probably have connections there. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'll go. And a lot of people said it in passing. Ask me how many of those people actually went on the trip, but like, if I'm going somewhere, I'm going. So my two girlfriends, actually, it was one girlfriend, my friend Morgan, our mutual friend Morgan, we were always talking about it and kept on building upon it and hearing more and more people going. And so I had like a group of 5 people who were like, let's go. Morgan was planning it with another of our friends. And then I was like, I don't want to be the ringleader of like, planning the itinerary. So they had already planned their trip. I was like, Morgan, can I just come with you guys so I could just hop? They had an itinerary. I was like, oh, I don't have to do any work.
That's the way to do
I just
it,
have
'cause
to
I'm not
pop
a planner
up.
either.
Yeah.
So you're,
and
so you're not the planner.
I am.
You're the Venmo friend.
I can be both. It depends on who is with me. And so, but I just didn't feel like having that burden when I'm busy at work. And
So
like, I always used to
What
plan.
I'm hearing is if you can pass the buck, you will.
100%. That's in all aspects of life. I will outsource. I am an outsourcer. And so I have a friend, our friend Alex, who went with us. She is like pedantic about Google Docs and spreadsheets and putting pins all over maps and all of
She
that.
would get along with Sahar. She's like, here, can you create this map? I don't have time to do it right now. I'm like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. Girl, I don't know what you're talking about.
ChatGPT helps with all
And
of
I told her,
that.
I was like, you know, you didn't have to do all this work. Like ChatGPT could have done
does
it.
it for you.
But like another great source is TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
just
you can learn anything.
everything.
You learn
yeah.
about restaurants to go to, places to go to.
Yeah, so she had it all laid out, talking about our itinerary since September and bringing it up every week until then. I was like, girl, I just want you to know when I get there, I respect your itinerary, but I also thrive off of vibes.
Yeah.
And she was like, no problem. And that's what we did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How close did you stick to the itinerary?
We used it as a guide, like some things we needed to know what day we would be doing it. So we had like a tour day. We had a like rest and restoration day, like R&R. Those things we had to make reservations for. We did a safari day. We did a winery. Everything else in between, like the places we said we would go out at night, we went to some of those places, but maybe not on those days we planned on going because we wanted to go when everyone else was going, that type of thing. So it was a loose guide, or if we wanted somewhere to eat, we would look at her handy dandy map and we're like, oh, we're close to one of the places you pinned.
So here's the tip. When you're picking all these restaurants, make a list, get the address, throw it into ChatGPT and ask them to make you a map and map it out. And ChatGPT will literally produce a map for you.
What?
And have all
she
the
manually did that, poor thing.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
She should
Hate
watch
that for her.
Now, if she watched Caviar and Wings, she would know.
Alex, watch Caviar and Wings.
I'm gonna try this when I get home.
Yeah. It is clutch. It is so good because when we're going out of town, especially somewhere like South Africa, you want to make sure you maximize your time
100%.
there. And getting from one part of town to the next part of town, if you're not really, paying attention and understanding the landscape, you're wasting a lot of time.
For sure.
Yeah.
She even like mapped in rest because I was the oldest person in the group, and I was like, just so you know, like, I can't just keep on going. Like, you're young and sprightly. I need rest. And she was like, oh, I put that in the itinerary. I was like, now you're mapping out my naps.
Your nap time.
Yeah.
She gave you nap time.
She gave me nap time, but I surprised everyone, and I was like, I was committed to the vibes.
So you guys went out, like you partied.
Oh, yes.
So wait, how do you find a party in South Africa?
I really want to go. We were trying a little bit.
It was,
a little bit, but
I partied more than I have in a very long time.
Really?
Because I'm like, I'm fun, but like you, I like to go home early as well. So like,
No, she doesn't like to go home early.
I go home early.
No, you don't.
Sometimes. It depends.
Early is subjective.
I'm not letting that fly, but go ahead.
Like if I'm in Miami or if I'm anywhere where I live, I don't need to be out. Like I live here, so I will give 2 hours of my best shot, and then I'm gonna sneak out and say I'm going to the bathroom and end up on my couch. Yeah, but I was like, I didn't travel 18 hours to sleep.
Yeah.
So I committed.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of myself because I saw the sunrise a couple times.
Not because you woke up early.
No. And I missed out on some like hiking trips and all of that because I was just getting home, but whatever.
You mentioned 18 hours. What was your flight path there?
Yeah, so I actually took Lufthansa, which I haven't taken before. Lufthansa is really hard to say that word.
I thought it was Lufthansa.
I still don't know how to say it.
Lufthansa. It's German.
It is German. Okay, I took Lufthansa via United. I had a layover in Frankfurt, which lasted for a whole day, if you will. So me and my girlfriend met in Frankfurt, and we left the airport, locked our stuff in the lockers in the business lounge, and went out.
How easy was that, locking the lockers up and being able to?
It was very easy. Like, they just have keys in the lockers. You put your stuff in and take the key with you.
You did it at the lounge? Oh, I didn't. So I know that there's also services, too, in the airport itself. So if you don't have lounge access, you could still sometimes check the airport because they have lockers too sometimes, or service. I've done that before where it's like, take my luggage, let me go out for the day. I've even done that on really big trips where it's like, okay, I'm going to an island. This is just the bigger airport I flew into, and it's a long trip. So, hey, take my big suitcase. So hold that till I get back from the island where I have my little roll-on, carry-on bag.
Got like a St. Martin to St. Bart's
type of thing, or like, something. I think I did that in Spain. Like we were going to Mallorca. It's like, I don't want to take this big suitcase with me.
I need to ask you about Mallorca. I'm going this summer.
Oh, you are? Oh my goodness, I love it there.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Shoot, let me get on the trip. I am always inviting myself on someone's trip.
Oh, SA, let's go.
Let's go.
Like it's planned.
Kelly and I wanted to go for New Year's so bad. So tell us, how did you find out about the parties? Because I think that's another thing too, is like when you're traveling to these places, how do I find out what like the Poppin' Club is?
Yeah. So because it's December, it's called festive season in South Africa, and I went to Joburg and Cape Town. I know a lot of people around the world, so I got people to connect me with people there, but then also when we got there, it's a few parties that happen in Accra and Lagos that were also happening in SA and that we know the promoters for. So somebody started a WhatsApp group. It was called like Cool Kids in SA or in Cape Town. It started with like 60 people. By the time we left, it was like 250 people on it, on WhatsApp.
Wow. Those are really helpful.
That very helpful. And I'm not a group chat girly. I do not like talking, hate it.
Yeah.
But it was hella useful. Like everyone was like, oh, we're going here tonight. So, and we knew a bunch of people who would buy tables, and it was just like, everyone was going to one of 4 places.
Yeah. So you basically get on a WhatsApp group.
Get on a WhatsApp. But like, I would say we were lucky because it was the holidays and everyone was going. If I was going in a random February, it might not be a group like that. And so, like I said, TikTok, go out, meet people,
friendly.
locals, yeah, and then they'll probably tell you where
Did
to
you
go
guys stay in a
next.
hotel or Airbnb?
So in Joburg, we stayed in a hotel, and that was intentional because we were arriving on Christmas Day. The next day's Boxing Day. We didn't want to, if everything was closed, we didn't want to have to worry about groceries and like
What's Boxing Day?
the day after Christmas. It's a national holiday in everywhere except the U.S. pretty much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and so I think it's like the day you box up your gifts, and that was the basis of it. But it's usually a holiday after Christmas, and
okay.
stuff is closed.
You learn
In
something
other
new every
countries,
day.
they respect holidays and don't force people to work.
Right.
And so, like, unfortunately, because it was festive season in Joburg, a lot of the people who live there who are expats or from other parts of the country, they leave. And so we actually caught Joburg in a slow period where
Right.
a lot of people were out of town. Fortunately, a lot of those people were in Cape Town. And so
Right.
we leveraged Joburg for like cultural stuff. We went out a few times and it was lit, but
Yeah.
we were able to like balance between culture and touring. We did a Nelson Mandela tour, we did art tours, we did a spa day, and then we went to Cape Town and it went downhill. Well, uphill.
Did you go to Sun City while you were out there?
No, we didn't. What's Sun City? No,
They have casinos out there.
I did not know that, but I'm not a big gambler. At least not with my own money.
Okay, yeah, that makes. I feel you. And how'd you get from Joburg to Cape Town?
We took a flight.
You took a flight.
Still business.
Still business. Still business. So I did South Africa years and years and years ago. I did Cape Town and Joburg, and then did a safari in Kruger National Park.
Yes, a lot of people went there
It's
afterwards.
beautiful. I stayed at this safari was called Singita, and they have a couple different, like, one's called Boulder, one's called something else. I stayed at the Boulder one. Beautiful, like once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
But we flew from the States to London direct, did a day in London, so that was nice. Exact same thing you did, locked up the suitcases, went out for the day.
And it splits it up, so you're
It
not
splits
like,
it
I've
up,
been on a
'cause it
plane
is-
forever.
Because
Yeah.
it is such a long flight. And then went to Cape Town first.
Yeah, I actually, if I did it again, I would probably do Cape Town first, then Joburg, because a lot of people were going to Joburg
after.
afterwards, and stuff would be open again and that
Yeah.
type of thing. But my company also is closed for the last 2 weeks of the year, so I was like, I don't want to waste it. And
Yeah,
like,
I gotta
here,
be
so-
out here in these streets.
Exactly.
How long did you stay? Was it 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of time. So Cape Town, we got to Joburg by taking the Blue Train.
Really? How long is that?
It was an overnighter, and it was the most. So the Blue Train is like Belmont has trains. It's like the Oriental Express. You get a cabin.
Oh,
It's
so it
all
was
wood.
luxurious.
It was posh.
Oh,
super posh.
okay.
Like a once in a lifetime.
How long does it take?
You could do like, I think you could, there's different options. We were doing it just very specifically to get us from one destination to another in an, enjoyable, still, fun
Efficient,
way.
yeah.
But you can take that same train and make it a 2-day trip, a 3-day trip. I think they have like a whole bunch of different options you can pick from. It takes you to the wine country, Victoria
Amazing.
Falls.
Amazing.
Yeah, they have a food cart. You have to be dressed for dinner.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember how much it costed?
It was expensive. It was expensive.
Like what range?
It was we were on an overnighter.
Did you pay for it though?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't pay for it.
So it wasn't that expensive.
It wasn't expensive to me, but it was expensive to the person who did pay for it. It was a couple $1,000s.
Really?
I wanna
In
say it
South
was like-
Africa?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like, I want to say the prices probably start somewhere around like $2,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would be different. South Africa's super affordable. Even though holiday time, they definitely ramp those accommodation prices up. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go during a holiday. I went in February.
Okay.
Still a great time to go because their summer is our winter.
Yeah.
It's flipped. So
Yeah.
don't go there in the summertime. It'll be cold. Yeah. So go in the winter. Went in February. Stayed at Cape Grace.
Where's that?
It's right there on the marina. Like
Okay, like in Camps Bay?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I picked it because Oprah stayed there. So I was like, well, if it's good enough for Oprah,
Good enough for Oprah.
if it's good enough for Oprah, it's going to work for me. So
That's a good philosophy to live by. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, and it was beautiful. First of all, I went years and years. I was like in my early 20s when I went, and my boyfriend at the time, who I went with, mom and dad, don't close your ears. We went. It was his birthday trip, and he took a bunch of cash. You know, back then, when you're traveling overseas, a lot of places didn't take credit cards, so you had to have cash with you. So and it was a 2-week-long trip, and this was the very beginning of our trip. He went to pull some cash out. This is on his birthday. Went to pull cash out of the safe for dinner. Forgot to lock the safe. So we went to dinner. We came back home. He never went back into the safe that night. We get up the next day, and we're getting dressed to go out or whatever the case. And he finally notices, like, yo, they didn't take all the money. They thought they were being slick. They only took some, but he was so like weird with like when he left money somewhere, it was always a certain denomination type. It always ended in a 0, and it was off.
Oh my
so
gosh.
that's how he knew. And then when he was like, yo, like there's money missing, right? So mind you though, at this point, so much time had passed since, you know, with the safe being open. So we tell the hotel this, that, and the other, and they're like, oh, okay, you know, we'll look into it. We didn't think anything of it. We're like, they're never going to find the person who took this money, right? So we leave. So we do our whole trip. We come back home.
Was it like a lot of money?
It was like, they probably stole like $800.
Okay.
Which is
enough.
That's enough. $800.
Just take $100, that's too much.
On his birthday, you know? So we get back home, and a few weeks later, they email me and they're like, ma'am, we looked into, you know, the incident and so forth. We polygraphed the people who had been in your room.
Polygraphed?
Yes, we found out and identified who took the money. Can you give us your bank account information so we can wire you the funds back?
That's insane.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
I will stay there just because of that.
Cape Grace Hotel.
Me and Oprah will stay there in the future.
It is a Fairmont, managed hotel. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I looked it up because, you know, I went so long ago. I'm like, oh, there's probably so many hotels now that, you know, are maybe better or whatever. It's still ranked. It's like still like one of the top 3 hotels in the
that's amazing
in Cape Town. But that my jaw dropped.
Yeah,
I was like, that would I feel like that would never happen. I don't know if you get
that kind of service over here.
That would never happen in the States.
No, you just have to complain.
If they take your money in the States or they take your jewelry, they're so bold, you'll never see it again.
Never.
No.
You said 2 things. One, that you had to take cash out back in the day. So I actually left my credit card in Miami and realized that when I got to the airport.
So you had no credit card at all?
No credit card.
But you're so close to the airport, you don't want to turn back around and
I don't travel where I have time for that.
Are you going to
cut it very close every time?
Okay.
It's a very bad quality of mine.
So once again, we are kind of neighbors, right? Very close to each other. If you have a 9 a.m. flight, what time are you leaving for the airport?
8.
Okay, we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
We had another guest say 8:15.
I would leave at 7:30.
If I'm not checking usually.
I'm not checking either.
And it was holiday time, so it was busy. I wasn't taking the chance. So I called Chase Sapphire to see if they could wire me a card. They were like, it'll take 7 days. I was like, okay, no.
Yeah.
I called my friend to see if she would ship it to me. She said it was going to be like $300 to ship the card.
Oh,
right.
Gosh.
I was like, I'm going to just thug it out. And Apple Pay worked everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. And so I did not need my card at all. And I have my debit card. I just don't like using it because transaction fees, foreign fees. But I never had an issue. And the one time I took out cash, I had to give it to somebody because I didn't use it.
Really?
Yeah. So everything, Apple Pay.
Okay, so nowadays you barely need any. How about tipping people?
That's what you need cash for. But I mean, PayPal and all of that. But I still had a little bit of cash to tip people. Yeah.
Do you, is it customary to tip like 20% there like it is here?
No. Sometimes it's not customary to tip at all, but I think because they were like tourists, Americans, like
some people they take offense sometimes, like
if it's I offered some and they were like, no, don't worry about it. But I probably tipped around like 10%.
Okay.
Most times, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And then you did an Airbnb. when you were in
Cape Town. Yes, and it was beautiful.
What area? Like, how did you pick
It was like near the CBD, the Central Business District, by this shopping area called V&A. It's a market, not like a grassroots market. It's like has all fancy restaurants, has like shopping. It's right by the pier. It was super nice. It was probably
it's like. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Like you could like really
the museums there.
Okay. I did
it's
go
beautiful.
There. It is nice.
Yeah, and they had great shopping. And it was probably like 15 minutes from Camps Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had like a penthouse apartment there. It was great to like. It was a beautiful place. We have views of the mountains, but it was also central enough where we can Uber wherever we had to go. Yeah.
So would you go back for New Year's again this year?
100%.
Okay, because we want to go.
Yes.
And you could be.
I feel like everyone's gonna go now because they saw our pictures. Everyone's texting me like, "Oh my gosh, how did you know that this was a hot spot?"
It's already getting so crazy. Like year after year, it gets bigger.
I was
and bigger.
happy I got it now because I'm like, it's about to be crazy this year for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so exciting because you know what I do love, and I say this on the show all the time. I think we're so fortunate to have a circle of friends who travel. So to be able to go to these destinations that are all around the world and like bump into friends and be like, hey, I'm gonna be here during these days.
I saw more people than I wanted to see, I will say that.
Really?
Because when I travel, I'm not trying to see the same people I see at Art Basel, you know?
Yeah.
It was benefits to that because it was friends that could connect us, hook us up, whatever.
Right.
But sometimes I want to like explore the city and be separate from my local life. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what else would you share with us? Like if there's something the viewers have to know about South Africa, what would it be?
One of my favorite days was in Joburg, outside of Joburg. We went to a place called Farmhouse 58. It's Black owned. I know the owner, he's great, but it's like a off the beaten path, like I guess a spa hotel, but like it's not, it's very organic, grassroots, farm to table. You have to take like a Jeep up this like random street.
I love it.
Yes, and so we did massages. They have an outdoor gym, sauna. It's like they encourage you to read. They have this beautiful library. It's just like so relaxing, so beautiful. And then it's on the same property as this sculpture park called Nyrox.
Okay.
I don't know if you've been to Storm King outside of New York, but similar to that, where it's like they have different installations.
Nice.
You can walk around, and then they have a restaurant on that property called And Then There Was Fire, and it's within the sculpture park. Probably one of the best meals I had on that trip.
Really?
Yeah.
And everything was probably farm to table?
Yes, and just pure and delicious, and it was just beautiful. We had our glasses of wine walking around the sculpture park. It was just amazing, yeah.
Nice, and it was Farm 58?
Farmhouse 58.
Farmhouse 58. We'll have to put that on our...
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds nice.
And then in terms of food, in Cape Town...
Langoustines. That's the first time I ever had a langoustine.
Really?
This was so long ago.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, girl, you haven't lived.
This was a long time ago. And when I came back stateside and I would like mention, people would look at me like, what are langoustines? I'm like, no, they're the most amazing thing. It's like a hybrid.
All right. They're okay.
It's a hybrid of like a lobster and a prawn to me.
Yeah.
They're all right.
Codfather. The Codfather in Cape Town.
Amazing.
They don't even have a menu. You just go and pick out your fish, and they ask you how you want it to be prepared, and then they make this beautiful platter for you. And we had like lobster, fish, shrimp. Like, it was amazing.
I love it. All right, since we're talking about food, in all your travels, what's your favorite food city?
Honestly, South Africa.
Really?
I never had a bad meal.
I love it. I can't wait till we go.
I would also say Tanzania.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam. I think these port cities that are close to water, like they were hubs for the spice market, and their food just tend to be much more flavorful. Yeah,
I love that. Did you see that one girl? I think she was on TikTok where she went to Zanzibar and she completely trashed Zanzibar.
And I was like, I don't respect people like that.
That was so terrible. It was so bad.
She was like, don't be fooled by the pictures. It's not as nice as it seems.
Oh,
and I'm
my
like,
gosh.
you don't deserve to travel.
Yeah, you know, and you know, for us here, it's like not everything is everyone's cup of tea, but I do think every destination you go to has its own beauty to offer, and you just have to be open to
For sure.
accepting
100%.
what that particular. Not everything is going to be bougie. Not everything is going to be.
And I don't travel for that. And don't be
Destination.
disrespectful. Like, people
Yeah.
live there.
That's their
People aren't as
well-being.
fortunate
Yeah.
as you. Like, and if you can't pay for an exclusive experience, like, it's not for you then.
It's not for you. You should have stayed home, sis.
Yeah.
All right. What's on the top of your bucket list?
South Africa was at the top. I would say Brazil. I've never been.
I've never been either.
And I've danced samba for like 15 years.
Like professionally?
No. But I was really good.
Like, are you on some show or like some like circuit?
You haven't seen me on Dancing with the Stars?
You know, I probably missed the season you were on. That's what it was.
And we didn't know each other yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But so I've been exposed to the culture for years. Love their food. Love the. Do you know it's the biggest Black population outside of Nigeria?
Oh, really?
I didn't know
I
that.
did not know
Yeah.
that.
And so I've always just wanted to go to Brazil, and so I hope to do that soon.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah. But I
gonna
mean,
get
I
there
have a
soon.
bunch of other travel plans that is not on my bucket list.
And, you know, I always end up going to, creature of habit, there are trips that I feel like I take annually and then don't leave as much room for trying new places. But
Correct.
we're going to fix that.
Yeah, South Africa was a new country, which I haven't done in a while. Like, I've been to a lot of countries multiple times.
What is your favorite hotel ever that you've stayed at?
Ugh. I would say Airbnbs.
You're an Airbnb girl?
So here's the thing. Maturity is realizing that I don't want to make up my bed or do anything for myself when I travel. But full service villas, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a little different.
Yes, and the last couple days of our South Africa trip, we were in this very nice Airbnb that somebody handed over to us.
We got to flash some pictures.
Yes.
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 All right.
Beautiful.
We'll have to check that out. All right. Good times. All right. So what's high on your list as far as places you've been to that you want to circle back on aside from South Africa?
I want to go back to Mexico City. I really wanted to go to their, I forget what it's called, their version of Art Basel.
Oh, yes.
But it's the same weekend
It's
as
Art Week.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to go back there. I went there for like a panel, and so I was there on like my corporate tip.
Yeah.
I want to go and like really vibe out.
It's beautiful there.
Yeah. I mean, my repeat trips are always Bermuda and Jamaica because
Yeah.
that's home to me. But Mallorca's coming up, and I'm really excited about that.
I'll share some tips.
Yes,
with you. Yeah.
yes.
And then something you can never travel without.
My headphones, my charger.
Essentials.
I think like
That's
everything else, like other than my
can-
essentials, I can buy everything else. Yeah.
Go off.
You know,
no, that's right.
This is what happens when you have bossy friends. They're just like.
I mean, I don't do that, but if it had
it
to come
comes
to
down
that,
to it.
everything else is replaceable. But I need music
Uh-huh.
and my phone charged.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you for having me. This was fun.
This is so exciting. I can't wait to do one of these like live from wherever
We gotta do
go.
Bermuda. We gotta do Jamaica.
We got a lot of things on the
I
list.
want to go to Bermuda with you.
We
Yes.
have a lot. Bermuda with you would be amazing.
It's the best.
It would
I
be-
brought a friend from Miami last summer, and she was like,
I
had
can't
the best
wait.
time, yeah.
That might have to be a must do.
Yeah.
Because that's a quick little
It's
weekend
quick.
for us.
It's
very
like 2
quick,
hours,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's
from
quick.
us from here, it'll probably
like
be
three. Yeah.
tops. For you, it's
It
actually
was short for me. I took
yeah,
Justin
a little
there
quicker.
when he was little.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say thank you for coming.
Of
on.
course.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Everyone, subscribe, like, follow. We're on YouTube. We're on all your favorite channels. So TikTok, Instagram, you name it, we're there, including Patreon. We're still working on content for it, but we have an official account. Bye.